Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and I'm glad I'm able to actually make a video because my internet's been struggling. If some of you saw my Discord announcement, yeah, apparently my internet was down for like a day, and then all of a sudden I woke up in the morning and it was back up. I thought there was a technical problem with my router, and I'm still not sure. So I'm gonna get a chance to do my video now in case something bad happens later. So today we're going to be talking about the Hala event, the main event that's going to be starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Now, this video is out a little bit later than I'd like because I wanted to wait and see what the point structure was for this, specifically based on what we saw in the data mines and what was on the blogs. And the data mines was right and the blogs was wrong. So that's why we're actually going to be correcting that here today. And also, for those of you who watched my video from yesterday regarding Miss Marvel's campaign event, we're going to be using the numbers that were in that, specifically the amount of orbs that we're able to gain from that based on your coring scenario, and use that to determine how many points that you're going to be able to get on this milestone event. So if you're ready to go to learn everything and how you're going to complete all of this, you know what to do. Let's boil this down. So the first thing that I want to do is kind of share with you how things have changed based on the scoring preview. And this is how I expected based on what the data mines were showing. Now, we still have the 10,000 limit, which is rating with any of your Bifrost characters, and this caps out. The problem is that now, instead of everyone thinking that you would have been able to use Loki to get all of your 5, 6, and 7-star points, it's actually per Bifrost character, which is what I mentioned in my video the other day. So now you get 1,000 points for 5-star characters, and then you get 1,750 for 6-star and 4,000 for 7-stars. For those of us who maybe only have Loki original as your 7-star Bifrost character, and you don't have 5, 6, and 7-star Bifrost of anyone else, then I'm only going to be including those points in the main math. Now, if you have other characters at 5+ stars, that's great, but most of us don't, including me. I don't have that. I might be able to get Vol at 5 stars soon now that she's in the now that they're in the orbs, but otherwise, yeah. So 1,000 points for Loki at 5-star, and then scroll down, it's a massive list. 1,750 at 6-star, and then 4,000 at 7-star per character. So yes, I think that what we saw in the blog was the total amount of points that you could get for across all of the Bifrost characters, but it's individual here in terms of the point cap. So for those of us who only have Loki at 7-star, we're going to be getting 6,750 points extra on top of the 10K towards the milestone. So just wanted to make that clear, and we're going to leave this open before we get to the math so that we can kind of reference that in terms of how far you're going to be able to get to. So let's jump on over. The first thing that I want to do here is kind of do a recap of where we are here this is the third week of the main event. Well, yeah, I guess at the end of week 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. And where we're at in terms of the month-long points. Now, we have everything with the exception of 3 things, which will be shown on the Friday blog post. This New York Alliance event, I believe it's Cosmic Crucible based. We have the Ego 1308, which is going to be the following week's main event, the last one, and the Quick Rumble 5. Which is going to be listed there as well. And we're actually at 792,000 rounding up, and we're only 8,000 away, which is great, which means that there's going to be a pretty large surplus in this event. However, and this is the star caveat here, is that it's based on how many reset charges that you were able to obtain. So we've had 6, including the Hala event. There's going to be 6 reset charges, which means there's probably going to be 1, maybe 2 more in the final event. They've been worth 30,000 points each. The second reset charge was very hard to get from Vormir. If you guys remembered, if you weren't coring enough to do this, you didn't manage to get this. And that's going to be the case as well for the Hala event, that you're going to need to core a lot more in the 400 plus territory, basically, if you want to get the second reset charge, which is worth 30,000 each. So if you miss 30 or 60K, then, you're not going to you're going to need to push a little bit further, right? So it really depends on what the surplus for the month is going to be overall, including all of these factors. But at least we're already close, and it hasn't been the final week yet. Whereas when it came to last month, we barely made it, right? We got to 820K. Like, it was not very good at all. So this one should be, I'm going to say, a little bit better, because it depends on your definition of that and your difficulty with getting the reset charges. So let's get started here. Let's zoom in more, because I always forget to zoom in because of the video making. Hala 0051. Let's scroll over a little bit. So it's a 7-day event. This includes the Miss Marvel campaign event. This includes raiding with Bifrost, and this includes spending power cores. The core part is for the web milestone, and you need to spend 300 cores daily in order to obtain this. I talked about this a little bit in yesterday's Miss Marvel video. So the total milestone points required for this, 80,000. I'm going to tell you right now that that is still a whalestone. You're not getting down this far. But where we will be getting is somewhere in this range. And I'm going to have this kind of just shown here for reference for later. And we get 29,000, sorry, you need 29,500 points if you want to get the max currencies plus the one reset charge. The second reset charge is at 56,000, which is a pretty big gap, right? 29.5 to 56K, it's almost doubled. So it is a little bit harder to get. Not everyone is going to be able to get there. Whether or not you need this or not is up in the air until the last event. But if you want to get the costume, the new Loki Season 2 costume, you need to get 6 reset charges. You need to open 6 reset charges in order to get that. Now, there is going to be 3,150 web milestone points. This is when you're spending 300 cores daily, you'll be able to get all of this. You'll also get a couple of orbs as well for the Miss Marvel, which I've caked into the math down below as well. There is going to be the free claim, of course. I don't know what this is going to be, worth, so I'm just going to put this in here right now. Usually it's not super significant to the point where it's going to influence you that much, but if you're on the line or on the cusp, then you know, this might make a little bit of a difference for you. So these are the point systems down below. Open 1 energized orb, you get 1,250 points. You get points up to 10,000 for raiding with your Bifrost characters. This isn't too difficult, especially since it's over 7 days, whether you're using them on Greek raids or just in the Incursion raid or Doom raid or whatever. It shouldn't be that hard to get this, because if you're using a full team of 5 or even 4 members, you know, it's only like 10 raid attacks or less. So it shouldn't be that difficult over a 7-day event. It should be pretty easy for you to clear. Now, this is the point systems for all of the 5 and 6 7-star characters. I'm just only including Loki's points because I think that's the most reasonable for all of us, especially for veteran players. But most players by this point, I would hope, has a 7-star Loki, very easily obtainable. And so I am going to be including the 1,000, 1,750, and 4,000 of his points into the math down below, but I'm not going to be including any of the other characters. So if you do have any of the other 4 Bifrost characters at 5+ star, great. You'll have a little bit more points than what I'm suggesting in this video. So as I wrote this down below, the same points per Bifrost character at 5, 6, and 7 star as this here. So just keep that in mind. Now, the total energized orbs. Now, this is going to be based on the Miss Marvel video that we watched. I did all the math, the total orbs that you're going to get over the event, depending on if you're doing 200 core refreshes, which is this table here. The red one is 400 cores. This is scenario 4, I already went over this as well, and scenario 5, 600 cores daily, which I call lots and lots of cores. Now, I have rounded up a little bit, so we're doing 30 orbs, 35 orbs, and 20, I rounded down a bit, so 25, whatever the nearest orb is for this in terms of what points you're going to be able to get. So jumping back to that, again, if you want to watch that video and know how many shards that you're going to be able to get for Miss Marvel, the character, then do watch that video, because that's all about that. I didn't want to have a 30-minute video, which is probably what it would have been if I put both of them together. So this is pretty important. So total energized orbs at 200 cores daily energy spent. This is in the campaign, specifically the campaign event. You're going to get 25 orbs. Multiply that by 1,250 and you're getting 31,250 points. So the majority of the points that you're going to be getting in this event actually stems from the Miss Marvel coring or the fragment farming from the Miss Marvel campaign event. That's where the majority of your points from this event are going to come from. And what's great already, just by looking at this, like we need 29,500 for all of the event currency and the reset charge, the 1 reset charge, and this already covers it. So if that's your goal, then it won't be that difficult to do. It's if you want to get that second reset charge, you're going to have to do a little bit more. So going on to 400 cores daily, this is, of course, 30 orbs from the Miss Marvel campaign event. That's going to get you about 37,500 points. Okay, so it's roughly about 6,000 more points than you would have got before. And then if you did 600 cores daily, of course, not only are you getting more Miss Marvel shards as a result of these orbs, you're also getting more points too. So keep that in mind as well. And for 600 cores daily, you're looking at 35 orbs, and you're looking at 43,750 points. Now, if you add up this stuff, which is the 10,000, 1,000, 1,750, and 4,000, add all, this is what I would deem as reasonable. Again, if you have other Bifrost characters at higher star ranks, then that's great, and you'll do a little bit better. Plus the 3,150 from the web milestone, and we don't know what the free claim is going to be yet. But if we add all of that together with the orb points, then you'll get, for 200 cores daily, you'll get 51,000 150. And so that obviously gets you all the event currency, and we're going to bring the game back up. 51,000. It's not quite milestone 18. So 200 cores alone is not going to cut it, but you will get everything else up to that point. There's a lot of good stuff in here as well. But if you want to get that second reset charge, then you're looking at 400 cores daily. That's going to give you 57,400 points, and that will give you the second reset charge because you need to get to 56,000. A little bit of wiggle room. Maybe you don't need to do 400 cores every single day, but you are going to need to do anywhere between 300 to 400, obviously to fulfill the web milestone, but also to get the reset charge as well. And then if you do 600 cores daily, then you're getting almost 64,000 milestone points, which obviously gets you the second reset charge, but does not get you to milestone 19. So the only thing that I can suggest is that if you are trying to get to milestone 9, I'm not even talking about 20. You're going to have like 5+ star Bifrost characters, like all of them to get that. With 19, you might be able to do 600 cores a day and have like 1 or 2 of the Bifrost characters at 5 star, the additional ones, plus the free claim might be able to get you there. But yes, milestone 20 is definitely what I would dub a Whalestone for sure, and you're only going to be able to get that unless you have the other Bifrost, the new characters at like 6, 7 star, those kind of additional points. 7 star will definitely help you get there, but obviously that's not within the remit of my video, since I am typically more free to play as far as the points go, because I want to kind of show people what's reasonable. That's why I've gone with this new strategy, reasonable points. So again, that's the more free to play angle that I would suggest there. So if you do want to get the second reset charge, make sure you're spending at least 400 cores daily in order to get that, so you're not missing out or you're not disappointed about that. The free claim, yeah, I said that before. I don't expect this to be super high when it comes to that. And one other thing that I do want to mention really quick is on the msf.gg website, just so people aren't blindsided by this, you can actually check out the campaign for Miss Marvel Hardlight, which is the Light Warriors event. I want to go over the heroic difficulty particularly because it's going to ramp up in difficult. Oh, I don't know why it says only War Dogs. That should not be right. But anyways, I want to kind of go over the enemies in this just so people aren't blindsided by what their expectations are. That's level 1 where it's pretty easy as a tutorial thing. But as we go to level 2, you can see that it starts with level 75 gear tier. I believe that's 14, maybe 15 characters. But as you go through level 3, and that one actually looks a bit easier. Level 4, it gets really bad towards the end. So it scales quite rapidly. 5, was that 4? About 5, 6, and then right at around 7 plus is when they hit the T. It jumps dramatically. This is level 7. There's 9 of them. Jumps to gear tier, that looks like 17 to me. Level 88 characters on level 7. And then we have the next one, which also actually has weaker enemies for some reason at gear tier 16, level 87. And then the final level here, Supreme Lies, we have Black Order at what appears to be, either that's gear tier 17 or 18, I forget because of the rings now. But level 95 Black Order with a Quicksilver, with more Black Order, with a Squirrel Girl, and a handful of other characters. This is going to be one of the nastiest nodes that I have seen in a campaign event for some time. And so I want people to be careful because I mentioned this in the previous video that the Energized trait is really awful. I actually don't know if I'm going to clear this, and I will probably record this just for sheer shits and giggles to see whether or not I can actually do it or not. Okay? Because while I do have some gear tier 16 and actually 217 characters, I don't know if it's enough to clear this. And just for the record, we are getting 200,000 Blue 4 Ions in the final heroic node. This is new, and 50 gold promotion credits. This suggests to me that this is probably not intended to clear for a lot of people, so we'll have to see about how that goes. This does not look fun. But because of how not fun it looks like, that's definitely going to be the source of recording for me tomorrow and see how bad it actually is. I think that if I'm not able to clear it, there's going to be a good chunk of you that are not either. And, you know, there might not even be people clearing some of the other nodes because this trait is one of the worst by far in any event campaign that I've ever seen over the last handful of years that I can remember. So that's saying something. But anyways, that's the math. So 400 cores a day. If you want to get that second reset charge, you know, if you can max out the milestone, great. But for most of us, you know, we typically are in the 200 to 400 core range. Obviously, if you're coring more into the event campaign for Miss Marvel, means more Miss Marvel hard light shards. But if you want to get the actual specifics, then do watch my previous video where I go over the math on that. So that's going to be the end of my video, everyone. And I hope that you enjoyed this week. We'll see tomorrow sometime when the event goes live, how bad the actual event campaign is and how hard those levels are. So until then, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.